Can I be honest with you for a second? For 22 years, I lived what most people would call the dream. I was a television executive at Fox 21 Television Studios and A&E. I produced over 100 episodes of Duck Dynasty. I executive produced and co-created 60 Days In, which brought in millions of viewers. I worked on Intervention, Accused, Guilty or Innocent, Zombie House Flipping, Triple Digit Flip, some of which I created. I helped develop over $2 billion in television content. I was nominated for 4 Emmys. And you know what? I was completely invisible. Not only did I feel it, I was. Here's what nobody tells you about being the guy behind the curtain. And this could relate to you about being behind the curtain in your industry. For me, I can make other people famous. I can create shows that millions of people watch. I can have all the credentials, all the experience, all the wins. Still feel like a commodity. Why? Well, lots and lots of television executives are out there, especially now. A lot of television executives, unfortunately, have lost their job. There's also lots of producers, lots of really good producers, lots of people who could do what I did and did what I did. Now, mind you, I was good at my job, but I wasn't the only who could do it. And when I stepped away from the day-to-day of my 22-year career, I knew there was something more for me. But I hit a wall. I'd spent 2 decades making other people unforgettable, but I had become invisible. Even to myself. So I'm going to tell you about a moment that everything changed. When you look back in your life, there are moments that just maybe didn't make sense at the time. But when you put the puzzle pieces together after, it all makes sense. So it was April 2024, not that long ago. It was Orlando, Florida, and I'm at a real estate conference. 2,000 real estate professionals are in the room. This conference was created by Pace Morby and Jamil Damji, 2 incredible entrepreneurs, friends of mine, and I had just produced unbelievable seasons of a television show with that you may have watched, Triple Digit Flip. So I'm behind stage, very blessed and grateful to be so. I'm with Pace, I'm with Jamil, and Grant Cardone. Yeah, that Grant Cardone. I just finished producing a show with Grant, his wife, Elena, and their team. And Grant was about to deliver the keynote. And Elena, Grant's wife, pulls me into the front row. Front row of 2,000 people. I'm sitting next to her. And I'm watching Grant own that stage. 2,000 people hanging on to every word Grant is saying. And I'm thinking, I want to be in this room. I want to be surrounded by this greatness. I want to help these people. Here's the thing. At that time, it wasn't part of my job. My job was to make other people famous, to stay behind the camera. Some would say to be invisible. And sitting in that room, I realized I don't want to be a W-2 TV executive anymore. I wanted something much, much bigger. See, for 22 years, I had been climbing a mountain. Let's call it the Hollywood Mountain. And I had reached my peak. I started off as an assistant, worked my way up, spent 10 years at Fox 21, spent 12 years at A&E Networks, received Emmy nominations, produced a couple $1 billion worth of television. I had done everything I wanted to do in that world. Well, to be honest, I hadn't done everything. But to do more, I would have had to become a different person. I would have had to sacrifice me to climb higher. And I wasn't going to do that. So that day, April 24th, 2024, sitting in that front row, I made a decision. I was going to jump into the deep end, not knowing if I could swim. But I believed I was surrounded by lifeguards who would jump in if I needed them. Here's what hit me. You know when you're the best, climbing up a mountain, you just never get to that peak. But what if you did something else? What if you climbed a different mountain than nobody else was climbing? You own that mountain. You name that mountain. That's what I decided to do. I left. And that very next day, well, maybe a couple of days later, I started climbing a different mountain. And you know what I realized? For 22 years, I had been creating only shows, not best shows. Duck Dynasty, who's to say that was the best family show? But it was the only show about a bearded, camo-wearing, duck call-making family from Louisiana. Who's to say 60 Days In was the best crime show? But it was the only show where regular people went undercover as inmates in a real jail. Who's to say Intervention was the best documentary series? But it was the only show that took you inside the raw, unfiltered moment of an addiction intervention. None of these shows were trying to be the best. They were the only. And that's why they worked. So I stopped trying to compete with every other brand strategist, business coach, and content creator out there. I stopped trying to be the best, which is subjective, right? And when you're trying to be the best, it's exhausting. And frankly, it's impossible to improve. So I just became the only. The only 4-time Emmy-nominated television producer turned brand strategist, the only person teaching entrepreneurs how to use Hollywood storytelling secrets to stand out, and the only guy who calls it the $2 bill brand. And you know what happened? Everything got easier. Okay, I kind of lied. It definitely is hard, but it made more sense. And that's when my content started standing out. My message became clear, and my clients started saying, I've never heard anyone explain it like this before. Because I wasn't trying to be better than everyone else. I was just being me. And nobody else could do that. Nobody else could be me. You don't need the best to be the best to win. I'm telling you, you do not need to be the best, but you need to be the only. And here's the beautiful thing. You already are the only, because no one else has your exact combination of your background, your experience, your personality, your story, your perspective. Nobody. The problem isn't that you're not unique. The problem is you're not owning it. So here's what I want you to do. Right now. Open up another tab. Go on your phone. Go to the number 2 $2billbrand.com. Right now. There's going to be a place to enter your email. Sign up for the waiting list. Because on Monday, November 10th, I'm launching something big. It's the Be the Only app. Yeah, me. I'm creating an app called Be the Only. It's going to help you discover your only statement in less than 5 minutes. Not not your elevator pitch, not your tagline, your only statement, the thing that makes you impossible to ignore. This is the same framework I use with my private clients. And now you're going to get access to it for free, but only if you're on the waiting list. So go to $2billbrand.com, sign up now, because the world doesn't need another best. The world needs your only. So why don't you be the only? Be the $2 bill.